The Galactic Council chamber was a cathedral of steel and shimmering light, suspended in orbit above a dying star. Species from hundreds of worlds filled the great hall, their voices a tangled symphony of alien tongues. The air buzzed with politics, power, and centuries-old grudges. In the midst of this cosmic theater, a single delegation stood apart, not by strength or status, but by sheer incongruity: the humans. Captain Leon Mercer adjusted the sharp collar of her uniform, feeling the weight of 1,000 curious eyes. Around her, her crew fidgeted uneasily, each representing the best Earth had to offer, yet all painfully aware of the condescension rippling through the crowd. The humans had been a galactic joke for decades, newcomers to spacefaring civilization, still wearing their planet's scars from centuries of internal conflict. Primitive technology compared to the sleek wonders of other species. Naive diplomacy that was more stubborn pride than savvy calculation. In the eyes of the Galactic Council, Earth was a curiosity, a quaint backwater, amusing but ultimately irrelevant. As the session began, the alien delegates settled into their seats with haughty airs. The Gorkari general, a towering reptilian with jagged scales and a voice like grinding stone, sneered openly at the humans. "Earthlings," he growled, "are like clever monkeys who've stumbled into a cave of lions. Let's see if they can howl with the rest of us." Leon's jaw tightened. She had heard worse insults on Earth's brutal streets, but the chamber's laughter stung like acid. Around her, the other humans remained calm, knowing well that anger would only confirm the stereotype. The council speaker, an ancient crystalline being whose voice sounded like wind chimes caught in a storm, began the formalities. "We welcome the Earth delegation today to decide their place among the stars, shall we?" The vote began. Species with deep-rooted prejudices cast skeptical eyes and sharper words. Some argued Earth was too volatile, too violent, too unpredictable. Others called for observation periods, monitoring, perhaps even restrictions, on human technology and personnel. But no one dared openly deny humanity's resilience. Despite everything, humans had survived. War, famine, plague, planetary collapse. Earth was a testament to chaos and survival, a constant underdog in a galaxy of empires. Leon glanced at the hollow display hovering between the seats. Earth's membership was hanging by a thread. The final count would determine if humanity could claim its place on the Galactic Council or be relegated to the fringes once more. Beside her, Bo Reyes cracked his knuckles, a lazy grin spreading beneath his scruffy beard. "Don't sweat it, Captain. They're just scared of what they don't understand." Leon shot him a warning look. Bo was a mechanic, not a diplomat, and his bluntness had gotten them into trouble before. But she knew he wasn't wrong. Fear disguised as laughter was a dangerous thing. The votes tallied. The speaker's voice echoed through the hall. "By majority, the Earth delegation is granted provisional membership, with conditions." The chamber erupted in a mix of applause and snide remarks. Leon's heart pounded. Provisional membership meant Earth was still under scrutiny, still a subject of doubt. A voice cut through the noise, a shimmering diplomat from the Zolari, whose 6 eyes studied the humans with icy precision. "May I ask," the Zolari said smoothly, "what strengths your species brings to the Council?" "We have no record of notable achievements in warfare, science, or diplomacy on par with others." The room hushed. Leon felt all eyes turn to her. She stepped forward, her voice steady but fierce. "Earth is a place of extremes. We have survived against odds that would have broken others. Our strength isn't in brute power or in elegant technology. It's in our will to endure. We adapt. We fight. We never give up." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Some scoffed, others leaned forward with interest. The Gorkari general snorted derisively. "Will to endure? Sounds like a polite way to say you're weak." Leon met his gaze unflinching. "Maybe. But don't mistake endurance for weakness. Sometimes the longest fight wins the war." The speaker raised a hand, silencing the room. "Let the record show Earth has been heard. Council adjourned." As the crowd dispersed, Leon caught Bo's eye. "We've got a long way to go." Bo shrugged, amusement flickering in his eyes. "Let them laugh. They haven't seen what we're really made of yet." The freighter Starstride shuddered as it slipped through the docking bay of Station Varos, a sprawling hub orbiting a fractured moon on the edge of the outer rim. Outside the viewport, neon-lit platforms clung to the station's battered surface like barnacles on a whale. Varos was no place for diplomacy. Its corridors hummed with the restless energy of smugglers, mercenaries, and travelers from 1,000 different worlds. Captain Leon Mercer surveyed the chaotic bustle with a practiced eye. After the tense events, at the Galactic Council, the provisional membership was both a victory and a challenge. Her crew needed resources, allies, and answers, and Varos was the perfect place to find them. But it was also a pressure cooker of old grudges and new conflicts, a place where the galaxy's worst habits thrived. "Engineering says the refuel bay will be free in 20, said Bo Reyes from across the bridge, grinning like a kid who'd just found a prize fight. His rough hands tapped rhythmically against the console as if eager for action. "Don't get distracted," Leon warned. "Keep it tight. We don't need any trouble while we're in port." Bo shrugged, but his eyes sparkled with the kind of thrill that never left him. He was a former underground fighter, a survivor who knew exactly how to handle himself when words failed. In a station like Varos, that was a skill worth more than credits. The rest of the crew moved with quiet efficiency. Kira, the sharp-eyed navigator, Jax, the burly security officer, and Nissa, the ship's medic, her calm presence steadying the group. Each one carried the scars of Earth's chaotic past, and each knew the galaxy's gaze was now watching them with a mix of suspicion and disbelief. Once docked, the crew disembarked into the thrumming heart of Varos. The station's corridors reeked of oil, sweat, and something metallic, like a constant promise of violence just beneath the surface. Vendors hawked alien spices and strange tech in dimly lit stalls, while holographic signs flickered advertisements in dozens of languages. Leanne led her crew toward the station's infamous entertainment district, a warren of narrow alleys filled with raucous laughter and sharper tempers. Their destination, the Rusted Fang. It was the kind of place where deals were made, debts were settled, and grudges were often settled with fists. "Why here?" Nissa asked quietly as they approached. "The battered entrance because," Leon said with a faint smile, "this is where you learn the truth about the galaxy. Not in councils or palaces, but in places like this." Inside, the Rusted Fang was a chaotic symphony of noise and bodies. Alien species crowded the bar, nursing glowing drinks or sizing each other up with hard eyes. The air was thick with smoke and the faint tang of old blood. Kesh, the four-armed Rylari bartender, wiped down the counter with mechanical precision but kept a close eye on every patron. Bo's grin widened as he scanned the crowd. "Looks like the usual suspects," Leon kept her own eyes sharp. The crew was small, outgunned, and outmatched, but they had something no one here expected. A group of Gorkari warriors lounged near the far end, their massive frames and jagged scales drawing attention. They were laughing loud enough to cut through the din, their voices dripping with derision. Leon recognized their leader, the one who had insulted humanity at the council. Bo's jaw tightened. "Looks like we've got fans." Before Leon could warn him, Bo swaggered over, the grin never leaving his face. The Gorkari glanced at him like he was an annoying insect, and then, amused, one of them shouted, "Earthling, think you're tough enough to back up your words?" Bo's eyes locked on the Gorkari leaders. "Try me." The bar quieted, whispers rippling through the crowd. Everyone knew the rules. No weapons inside, no killing. But fights happened, and no human had ever won one against a Gorkari. Leanne stepped forward, voice low but firm. "Enough. We're not here to start trouble." The Gorkari leader sneered. "Trouble finds us, Captain, especially when the monkeys get cocky." Bo's smirk didn't falter. "You'll see. We're not just monkeys." Leon's heart pounded. She had a sinking feeling this night was going to change everything. The Rusted Fang's smoky air thickened with anticipation. The chatter dimmed to a low murmur as the crowd's attention converged on the humans and the towering Gorkari warriors. The reptilian brutes towered over most patrons, their scales glinting. Under the flickering neon lights, sharp teeth bared in amused sneers. They were the undisputed rulers of Varos's underbelly, feared and respected. Boreas stood his ground, fists relaxed but ready. His lean frame seemed almost fragile next to the hulking Gorkari leader, whose arms were thick as tree trunks and whose claws had shredded more than one opponent in these very halls. The tension was palpable, like a coiled spring waiting to snap. "Tell me, human," the Gorkari leader growled, voice deep and gravelly. "What makes you think you can stand here unbroken and insult my kind?" Bo's grin never wavered. "Because I've been in fights where the odds were worse than this and walked out breathing." The Gorkari laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. Bold words from a species that can't even hold a starship without breaking half the controls. The crowd chuckled, some jeering, others watching closely. Bo glanced back briefly at Captain Leon, who stood near the bar with arms crossed, lips pressed tight. Her eyes were calm but fierce, warning him to back down. But Bo's spirit was unyielding. Suddenly, a younger Gorkari warrior stepped forward, eyes blazing with arrogance. "If it's a fight you want, human, we'll give you one, but no weapons, bare fists. You'll learn why the galaxy laughs at you." Bo nodded slowly. "Fair enough." The bartender, Kesh, a large Rylari with 4 muscular arms, moved swiftly, clearing a space in the center of the bar. "No weapons, no killing," Kesh said, voice rough but commanding. "Fight to first knockout, keep it clean." The crowd surged closer, a ring of eyes and expectant faces. The tension was electric. Bo bounced lightly on his toes, his breathing steady, calculating. The Gorkari warrior cracked his knuckles, jaws clacking in anticipation. The first punch flew, a heavy, brutal swing aimed at Bo's head. Bo ducked with a blur of motion, slipping inside the Gorkari's reach. His fist connected, sharply with the alien's ribs, a crack echoing through the room. The Gorkari grunted, staggering back. The crowd gasped. No human had ever landed a blow like that here. The fight exploded into a furious dance. The Gorkari relied on raw power, swinging with crushing force, trying to end it quickly. But Bo was fast, weaving through the blows, countering, with precise strikes to pressure points, knees, and ribs. One punch sent the Gorkari sprawling into a stack of crates, and the bar fell deathly silent. The alien struggled to rise, dazed, but Bo was already moving in, eyes cold and focused. With a final, lightning-fast uppercut, Bo knocked the Gorkari unconscious. For a heartbeat, the room was frozen. Then, slowly, a ripple of murmurs began, spreading like wildfire. The Gorkari warriors stared in disbelief, their pride shattered. The humans, quiet, underestimated, had just bested one of their own in his own den. Captain Leon stepped forward, voice calm, but resonant. "We don't want to fight your battles, or your grudges," she said, looking each Gorkari in the eye. "But don't mistake silence or patience for weakness. We've survived worse than you can imagine." The Gorkari leader, still groggy, glared daggers at Bo. His voice was low and dangerous. "This isn't over." The crowd shifted uneasily. Some whispered about the fight's meaning. Others eyed the humans with newfound respect, or fear. Kesh wiped his hands on his apron, nodding to Leon. "You've changed the game tonight. But remember, this is just a single fight. The galaxy is bigger and darker than this pub." Bo cracked a grin, rubbing his knuckles. "Maybe, but every legend starts somewhere." Leon gathered her crew quickly. "We're leaving. For now." They stepped out of the rusted Fang and into Varos's grim night. The station seemed different, less certain, less sure of itself. The galaxy had laughed at humanity, but that laughter was fading. The cold air of Station Varos hit them as they spilled out of the rusted Fang, but the adrenaline thrumming through Boreas's veins kept his blood hot. The crowd inside hadn't just witnessed a fight. They had witnessed a collapse of centuries-old assumptions. Bo's knockout punch wasn't just physical, it was a statement. Captain Leon Mercer's eyes scanned the dimly lit docking bay. The hum of engines and distant chatter filled the space, but the weight of what had just happened pressed heavy on her chest. "Bo," she said quietly, "this changes everything. You know what this means, right?" Bo shrugged, still grinning. "Yeah, it means they were wrong to laugh at us, and they'll be thinking twice before they do it again." Leon nodded, but her face was serious. "It's more than that. It's not just about winning a fight, it's about the truth they refuse to see." Behind them, the crew gathered, each processing the moment differently. Kira, the navigator, wiped a bead of sweat from her forehead. Jax, the security officer, looked like he wanted to throw a punch himself, just to remind everyone how deadly humans could be. Nisa, the medic, studied Bo with a mix of admiration and concern. "That fight was brutal. You could have been seriously hurt." Bo waved off the concern. "Pain's part of the game. We don't back down." Before Leon could respond, a shadow detached itself from the crowd near the entrance. A figure draped in shimmering robes with 6 glinting eyes fixed on them. It was a Zalari diplomat known for their cold logic and sharp wit. "I must congratulate you, Captain Mercer," the Zalari said, voice smooth and deliberate. "Your crew's performance tonight has caused quite a stir." Leon straightened. "Thank you, but it was just one fight." "Is it?" The diplomat smiled, though their eyes remained unreadable. "You underestimate the galaxy's capacity to remember and to fear. Your species' resilience is unsettling." Bo's grin faltered. "Why do you say that?" The Zalari leaned in slightly. "Humans have a reputation, one buried deep beneath your own history. You survived wars that shattered your planet, fought enemies that would have crushed lesser species. There are stories, Captain. Stories of a species forged by chaos." Leon's gaze hardened. "We survived because we had to." "Precisely." The Zalari's voice dropped to a whisper. "And now you emerge, unbroken, into a galaxy that dismissed you as a curiosity. They laughed because they hadn't seen your true strength. But after tonight, those laughs will turn to whispers of caution." The diplomat's words hung in the air like a warning. Bo looked down at his knuckles, still aching from the fight. "Sounds like they've been sleeping on us." Leon nodded. "They have, and they're going to regret it." Suddenly, a low chime from the ship's comm system interrupted the moment. Leon answered, and the voice on the other end was urgent. Clipped. "Captain Mercer, this is Central Command. We've received an encrypted message from a secure source. They request your immediate attention in Docking Bay 7. It's sensitive." Curiosity piqued. Leon exchanged a glance with Bo. "Let's move." They made their way quickly through the station's labyrinthine corridors to Docking Bay 7. The area was quieter here, less crowded, shadows stretching long under the harsh lighting. Waiting for them was a tall figure cloaked in a cloak of shifting colors, their face obscured by a mask. They introduced themselves only as Arin. "I've been watching," Arin said, voice low and urgent. "Your fight was more than a spectacle. It exposed truths some wish buried." Leon folded her arms. "Who are you? What do you want?" Arin stepped forward, producing a small device. "Information, access, and a warning. Humanity's reputation is growing. Powers that prefer to remain hidden will not welcome your rise." Bo snorted. "Sounds like we're already on someone's bad side." Arin's gaze was piercing. "Not just someone, many. But if you understand what you're truly capable of, you might change the game." Leon felt a mix of unease and determination settle in her gut. The fight at the Rusted Fang was only the beginning. The galaxy's undercurrents were shifting, and humanity was no longer a joke. It was a force awakening. As Arin vanished into the shadows, Leon looked back at her crew. "We need to prepare. The real test is just ahead." Bo cracked his neck, ready. "Bring it on." Leon smiled faintly, the weight of command heavy but steady. For the first time, the galaxy won't be laughing. The Starstride hummed softly as it slipped away from Station Varos, leaving behind the neon chaos and whispering shadows. Inside the dimly lit conference room, Captain Leon Mercer and her crew gathered around a hollow table, its flickering blue, light casting sharp shadows across their determined faces. Aaron's warning echoed in Leon's mind like a distant thunder. Powers that prefer to remain hidden will not welcome your rise. Who were these hidden powers? And why had humanity's resilience suddenly drawn their attention? Boreas leaned forward, rubbing a bruise on his knuckle from the fight. I say, let them come. We've survived worse. But what's the real story here, Captain? What's with the whole hidden powers talk? Leon tapped the hollow interface, bringing up encrypted files that Aaron had slipped to them before vanishing. The screen flooded with fragmented images and data, shadowy experiments, genetic sequences, war-torn planets, and ancient records that painted a picture no one had dared speak aloud. Nisa, the medic, gasped softly. These files, they're about human origins, about how our species was altered genetically. It's not natural evolution. Kira, the sharp-eyed navigator, frowned. Look here. Coordinates to a remote system, deep in uncharted space. And a timeline that matches key periods of human history. Wars, plagues, technological leaps. Jax, the security officer, crossed his arms. So you're saying we're engineered? Like some kind of galactic experiment? Leon's voice was steady but filled with a growing resolve. Not just engineered, designed to survive, to endure when all else fails. Someone wanted humans to be the ultimate survivors. Bo shook his head, incredulous. So the galaxy laughed at us all this time, blind to the fact that we were made to fight? That's twisted. Leon's eyes darkened. It gets worse. The powers that created us, if they still exist, may see us as assets or threats. The crew absorbed the weight of the revelation. Humanity's reputation as stubborn, scrappy survivors suddenly had new meaning. They were not just underdogs. They were living proof of a shadowy experiment in survival, a cosmic wildcard. As the hollow screen displayed more data, Leon's comm crackled. A voice whispered through the static, familiar, but urgent. Captain Mercer, this is Aaron. You need to hear this. Leon tapped the comm. Go ahead. There's a summit, not publicly announced. Representatives from the most powerful species, curious, cautious, and some eager to study what humans can do. You've been invited, Bo snorted. Sounds like a trap. Maybe, Aaron admitted. But it's also an opportunity to learn who's watching and why. To show the galaxy that humans are not just survivors. We are a force. Leon exchanged looks with her crew. The path ahead was clear but dangerous. We accept, she said finally, but on our terms. The summit was held in a hidden station orbiting a dead star, far from prying eyes. The assembled delegates were a mix of elites, warriors, scientists, and spies. The air was thick with suspicion and silent challenges. Leon stepped into the chamber, flanked by Bo, Kira, Jax, and Nisa. Eyes turned sharply toward the humans. Whispers circled like predators sizing up their prey. The summit leader, a towering alien with iridescent skin and 4 piercing eyes, addressed the crowd. Humans have come far in a short time, but today, we ask, what is the true extent of your power? And how will you wield it? The tension tightened. Bo stepped forward, voice steady and unwavering. We don't just survive, we adapt, innovate, and fight. You may have thought us weak, but every time you laughed, we trained harder. Every insult, every scorn made us stronger. Murmurs echoed through the chamber. Leon added, the fight at the Rusted Fang was only the beginning. We didn't come to ask for respect. We came to earn it. A murmur turned to applause, some hesitant, some grudging. The summit wasn't just a trial, it was a turning point. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to rewrite its story. As the delegates eyed them, some with respect, others with unease, Leon felt the weight of the future settle on her shoulders. We're not the joke anymore, she thought. We're the wild card. The summit's chamber buzzed with uneasy energy as the echoes of Captain Leon Mercer's defiant words lingered. The galaxy's elite had just witnessed humanity's raw spirit laid bare, an unyielding flame in the face of ancient prejudice. But beneath the surface of applause and whispered respect, deeper currents churned, invisible but deadly. Leanne could feel it, the wary glances, the cautious whispers in alien tongues she didn't understand. The summit was more than a forum. It was a chessboard, and every player had a hidden agenda. As the session broke for recess, a slender figure slipped through the crowd, intercepting Leanne before she could return to her crew. "I hoped I might speak with you, Captain," the figure said softly. A woman, or something like one, her skin shimmering with subtle patterns of light, eyes deep pools of violet. "I'm Oren," she said, bowing slightly. "I represent the Consortium, the Shadow Council that monitors galactic stability. You've stirred ripples far beyond your expectations." Leon's gaze narrowed. "Ripples or waves?" Oren smiled faintly. "Waves. Your fight in the Rusted Fang was seen, heard, and feared. There are those who believe your kind is a threat to the balance. Others see potential, but no one can ignore the implications." Bo stepped forward, arms crossed. "So what? We're supposed to sit quiet and pretend we're nothing?" Oren's smile faded. "Not at all. But power without control is chaos. The Consortium seeks to guide that power before it guides you." Leanne felt the weight of centuries in Oren's words. "Why tell me this?" "Because," Oren replied, "you are not just survivors. You are the product of an ancient experiment, one that shaped your DNA with resilience and adaptability unlike any other. But you carry more than strength, you carry secrets. Secrets that some would kill to keep hidden." Nisa, standing nearby, stiffened. "What secrets?" Oren's eyes flickered with hesitation. "There are fragments, scattered, records from before recorded history. They speak of a lost alliance, an ancient war, and a role humanity was meant to play. Your arrival on the galactic stage was never accidental." Leon's mind raced. She thought of Earth's tumultuous history, wars, natural disasters, and human resilience that bordered on myth. Could it all be tied to something cosmic, something deliberately designed? "Why now?" Kira asked, voice tight with curiosity. "Why reveal this to us now?" "Because the galaxy's balance is shifting," Oren said. "New threats arise. Powers that have slept for eons are stirring. Your kind, whether you accept it or not, is central to what comes next." The words settled like a shroud. "Do you expect us to trust you?" Leon asked. Oren's gaze was steady. "Trust is earned. But know this. Those who laugh at humanity do so at their peril. The fight at the Rusted Fang was just a spark. The fire is coming." Before Leon could respond, alarms blared across the station. Red lights flashed. The summit chamber locked down. Voices crackled over comms. "Intruders detected. Security breach in progress." The crowd shifted into chaos. The Consortium's guards, sleek and armed, moved to secure exits. "Looks like someone doesn't want this meeting to continue," Jax growled, already drawing his sidearm. Leon grabbed Bo's arm. "Stay close, we need to get out." As the delegates scrambled, Leon's mind raced. Was this attack meant to silence the truth? To prevent humanity from stepping into its rightful place? They moved swiftly through shadowed corridors, dodging patrols. Oren kept close, her movements fluid and confident. "Follow me," she urged, leading them to a concealed hatch. Once sealed inside a narrow maintenance shaft, Oren spoke quietly. "The attackers are from the Obsidian Hand, a secret faction that thrives on control and fear. They see humanity's rise as a threat to their dominion." Bo cursed under his breath. "So we're targets now." "Great." Leon clenched her jaw. "Then we fight, not just to survive, but to change the story they wrote for us." The hatch opened into a dimly lit chamber, far from the summit's grandeur. Walls lined with relics and holograms flickered with forgotten knowledge. Oren gestured toward a console. "There's more you need to see. About your past, about why the galaxy laughed, and why it won't anymore." As the images filled the room, showing lost civilizations, genetic blueprints, and battles long erased from memory. Leon felt the truth settling in, a mantle of destiny that was both a burden and a promise. "We are no longer just fighting for respect," she whispered. "We're fighting for our future." Outside, the station quaked with distant explosions. The war had only just begun. The hollow message's abrupt end left a heavy silence in the summit chamber. Captain Leon Mercer's heart pounded, an unspoken warning hanging like a shadow over them all. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, and Bo Reyes clenched his fists, feeling the fight surge back into him. But this time it was more than just physical. Leon took a slow breath, steadying herself. "We can't ignore this. Whoever sent that knows something important, and it's connected to what we uncovered." Kira nodded, her eyes sharp. The data from Aaron hinted at ancient wars, genetic tampering, but this message suggests there's more hidden beneath the surface. "Exactly," Leon said. "We need answers. Fast." Jax stepped forward, voice low but urgent. "If the Obsidian Hand is involved, they won't stop hunting us. They want control, not peace. We're in the middle of something much bigger." Nissa crossed her arms, worry etched on her face. "And we don't even know the full extent of what's coming." Leon's calm crackled again. "Captain Mercer, this is Central Command. We're tracking increased Obsidian activity near the Saigini Expanse. Intel suggests they're moving to capture your ship." Bo's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't wait for them to come knocking." Leon gave the order. "Prepare to jump. We're heading to the Signy Expanse. Time to confront the shadows of our past." The Starstride surged through hyperspace, stars streaking past like silver arrows. The crew worked in tense coordination, their faces tight with focus. The Signy Expanse was known for its unpredictable gravitational anomalies and long-forgotten ruins, an eerie place where secrets hid in the void. As they emerged from hyperspace, the ship's sensors picked up faint energy signatures emanating from a derelict station drifting at the edge of a dead system. "Looks like our ghosts have a home," Bo muttered. Leon nodded grimly. "Let's see what secrets this place holds." They docked with the station, its once grand halls now silent and covered in dust. The air was stale, the only sound the distant creak of shifting metal. As they moved deeper, hollow records flickered to life, revealing fragmented histories of a forgotten alliance, the very one Orin had hinted at. Voices echoed in the recordings, speaking of a coalition formed eons ago to prevent galaxy-wide catastrophe. Humanity's ancestors were part of that alliance, but something went terribly wrong. The records hinted at betrayal, genetic experiments, and a war that shattered worlds. Nissa's voice trembled as she studied a bioscanner. They were trying to enhance human DNA, make us stronger, smarter, more adaptable. But it came at a cost. Bo's jaw clenched. "They made us weapons, but we didn't ask to be." Leon stepped forward, touching the flickering display. "And now, centuries later, we're waking up that old war. The Obsidian Hand, the Consortium, even the Zalari, they're all tied to this past." Suddenly, an alarm blared. Security systems activating. The station wasn't as abandoned as it seemed. "Trap," Jax growled, drawing his weapon. From the shadows, Obsidian Hand operatives emerged, weapons raised and eyes cold. Leon raised her hand. "Stand down. We're here for answers, not war." The leader stepped forward, a grim-faced woman with cybernetic implants. "You don't get to decide. Your kind is a threat to the balance. We'll do whatever it takes to stop your rise. Is it?" Fist slammed into the wall. "You're the ones who started this war. You turned us into weapons and then tried to bury us alive." The tension snapped. The firefight erupted, echoes bouncing through the station's hollow corridors. Back aboard the Starstride after a narrow escape, Leon gathered her crew, bruised but unbroken. "We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore," she said. "We're fighting for the truth about who we are, and for the right to define our own destiny." Bo nodded fiercely. "Let them come. We're ready." Leon's eyes swept the crew. "This is far from over, but tonight we showed them humanity isn't their joke. We're the spark that will change the galaxy forever. Outside, the stars burned bright, witnesses to a new chapter just beginning. The Starstride floated silently against the vast canvas of stars, its hull scarred from the latest skirmish but its spirit unbroken. Captain Leon Mercer stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the swirling expanse of the Cygni expanse before them. This place, the forgotten battlefield of an ancient war, was now a beacon of a new beginning. Behind her, the crew moved with purpose. Bo Reyes nursed a battered knuckle but wore the familiar grin that had first caught the attention of the galaxy. Kira ran diagnostics on the navigation systems, Jax double-checked security protocols, and Nisa tended to the minor injuries with practiced efficiency. They were bruised but alive. They were human. Leon's mind replayed everything they had uncovered, the genetic experiments, the shadowy powers that had shaped their kind, the betrayals that had nearly erased humanity's place among the stars. They had been underestimated, laughed at. But tonight that laughter had turned to something else. Respect, fear, and above all, curiosity. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. The communication panel blinked, a message from the consortium. The elusive council Orin represented. Leon activated it. A holographic figure shimmered into view. Orin's violet eyes calm but filled with urgency. Captain Mercer, Orin began. You have done what few believed possible. You have ignited a fire in the galaxy's heart, but be warned, the forces that oppose you will not relent. The obsidian hand is only the beginning. Leon nodded. We're ready. The fight has changed. We're not just surviving anymore. We're leading. Orin's form flickered, a faint smile touching her lips. Good. Because humanity's true test lies ahead. You will need allies, and you will need to awaken the past to secure the future. The transmission ended, leaving a charged silence on the bridge. Bo stepped forward, cracking his neck. Sounds like we're about to get very busy. Leon allowed herself a small smile. And we'll face it like we always have. Together. Days later, the Starstride slipped through hyperspace toward a rendezvous point deep within the Galactic core. Intelligence had surfaced about a hidden enclave, an ancient outpost where remnants of humanity's original creators might still dwell. Kira looked up from the console, eyes bright. This is it. If what we've been told is true, we might finally unlock the secrets of our origin. Nisa's voice was steady but hopeful. And maybe find the key to controlling the power within us. Jax checked his weaponry. Whatever's waiting, we'll be ready. Bo grinned, flashing a thumbs up. Let them laugh one last time. After this, the galaxy will remember what humanity is really made of. Leon stood at the helm, staring out into the swirling stars. Her thoughts went back to that pub fight on Varos. The moment when laughter turned to shock. It was a simple moment, raw and chaotic, but it had revealed the truth no one expected. Humans were survivors, fighters, a species forged by hardship and hardened by defiance. But more than that, they were a wild card, capable of changing the course of history. The galaxy might have laughed at humanity for centuries. It had been a joke to most, but jokes could cut deep. And this one was just getting started. As the Starstride accelerated toward its mysterious destination, Leon whispered, For all who doubted us, watch closely. The fight for humanity's future has only just begun. And in the silence of space, the fire within humanity burned brighter than ever. The end, for now,